Rollins has also become a casualty of WWE's modern scheduling philosophy. By appearing less on weekly television and avoiding house shows, he stays physically fresh. But this also means he has less week-to-week development. WWE doesn't build layered arcs with him anymore because they don't use him consistently enough. When he does show up, it's in brief backstage segments, occasional run-ins, or formulaic tag matches. There is no sustained momentum, and the emotional peaks of his character's journey have vanished. It's difficult to care about his victories or losses when there's no narrative continuity framing them. Furthermore, WWE has made no serious attempt to pair Rollins with fresh, interesting opponents. He has spent the last few years facing the same pool of talent: Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, and AJ Styles, with very little character evolution or storyline differentiation between those feuds. Rollins has not been positioned against new blood like Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, or even LA Knight in any meaningful way, even though those matchups could breathe new life into both performers and the show itself. Instead of allowing Rollins to act as a gatekeeper for emerging stars or a measuring stick for uppercard challengers, WWE rehashes safe matchups that do little to build his legacy or his opponents. It also doesn't help that Rollins' real-life accomplishments are rarely used to enrich his character. He is a two-time Grand Slam champion, a former NXT champion, and one of the few wrestlers in WWE history to pin Brock Lesnar clean more than once. These are accolades that should be defining his character's psychology, giving him arrogance, confidence, or even insecurity. Instead, WWE presents Rollins like someone whose resume has no bearing on the current product, as if each storyline exists in a vacuum. This not only disconnects fans from his broader journey, but also denies newer viewers the context that could make him feel legendary. Lastly, WWE is ignoring the shelf life of their top-tier stars. Rollins is not going to be around forever. He's already said he's entering the final phase of his career and has teased retirement in multiple interviews. WWE is not booking him like someone whose window is closing, even though that's the reality. They should be telling stories that feel urgent, giving him emotional arcs, and using his platform to elevate younger stars in a way that builds WWE's future. Instead, they are wasting his remaining years on half-baked faction stories and background roles that make him seem replaceable. Adding to the complexity of Seth Rollins' predicament is WWE's chronic inability to capitalize on momentum when it does arise. In the wrestling business, timing is everything. Rollins' career has been punctuated by bursts of intense spotlight, such as his original Money in the Bank win and main eventing WrestleMania, but these highlights have frequently been followed by creative misfires and abrupt transitions that stall his forward progression. This stop-and-start treatment creates a cyclical frustration, both for the performer and the audience, diminishing the perceived stakes every time Rollins climbs toward the top. Rather than building sustained peaks, WWE repeatedly resets his position, making it difficult to maintain meaningful audience investment over time. The reliance on part-time megastars and nostalgia acts has also diluted the space Rollins might otherwise occupy. With John Cena's ongoing appearances, CM Punk's intermittent returns, and Roman Reigns' lengthy title reign, WWE's creative bandwidth is largely focused on legacy figures rather than investing in rising or established homegrown talent like Rollins. This leaves him caught in a creative limbo where he is neither fully pushed as a main event cornerstone nor completely relegated to mid-card status. Instead, he's frequently placed in transitional storylines or used to bolster newer characters' credibility without being allowed to evolve himself. Furthermore, the inconsistent tone surrounding Rollins' character presentation contributes to fan confusion. There is no clear, stable version of Seth at present. Sometimes he is the manipulative faction leader, other times a sympathetic underdog, or even a generic babyface fighting to regain relevance. WWE's reluctance to commit to a singular, compelling character direction undermines Rollins' natural charisma and storytelling ability. When the creative team tries to appeal to too many audience segments simultaneously without a coherent through line, the result is a diluted product that satisfies no one fully. The backstage environment also plays a role. Rumors of tension between Rollins and certain parts of WWE's creative leadership have circulated for years, though these are unconfirmed. However, the pattern of booking decisions suggests that Rollins' input may be limited or overlooked in key creative meetings. If true, this disconnect could be a root cause of his underutilization. Wrestlers who are not actively engaged in shaping their narratives often find their characters flattened or mishandled. For a performer who thrives on layered storytelling and emotional investment, a lack of creative collaboration can be crippling. Additionally, Rollins' injury history, while not as severe as some peers, influences WWE's approach. The company is likely cautious about pushing him into grueling schedules or high-risk spots too frequently. While this protects his physical health, it inadvertently limits his opportunities for long-term story arcs that require consistent week-to-week presence. This protective stance means that WWE prioritizes his longevity over immediate payoff, which, without strong interim storytelling, feels like sidelining. WWE's broader creative formula also impacts Rollins. The current emphasis on faction warfare and multi-person storylines means that individual characters often get overshadowed by group dynamics. While factions can elevate wrestlers by association, they also risk diluting personal identity. For Rollins, being the brains of a faction comprising younger or less established stars may create credibility for his partners, but inadvertently minimizes his own spotlight. His character's depth is lost amid generic faction tropes, turning a nuanced performer into a functional accessory. The WWE product is at a crossroads, and their handling of Seth Rollins is a clear sign of what's going wrong. Instead of maximizing the talents of one of their most consistent and reliable stars, they're letting him drift into irrelevance by surrounding him with underdeveloped stories and poorly defined motivations. This isn't just a missed opportunity, it's a structural failure of creative vision. WWE needs to wake up to the reality that if they continue down this path, they're not only devaluing Rollins, they're undermining their own future. They can't afford to treat one of their last remaining top stars like a side act. The longer they wait to correct course, the harder it will be to make fans care again.